This is Kelly Wentworth from Survivor San Juan del Sur, and you're about to listen to one of my favorite sources for all things Survivor. This is Survivor Talk with D&D. So find your flint, grab a bag of rice, and all your fishing gear, and let the bartering begin. Take it away, D&D.
Hey, everybody, this is Dwayne.
And David.
And we're just two best friends talking about the show we love, Survivor. And yes, that was last season's intro, but we have a new intro coming. It's just not here yet. We do have a new intro coming, although I like Kelly's intro, David.
Oh, love it.
But Mike Holloway has agreed, the winner of the Dirty 30, Season 30, Worlds Apart, has agreed to record our intro. So that will be our next intro. Tonight is our first Survivor Second Chances episode, nearly 60 days before the show's premiere, and we are doing a podcast. Why? Because if we get spoiled for some crazy reason, some weirdo out there accidentally tells us something, we can't draft. So we're doing it now. And David, we have two guests tonight. Firstly, alphabetically by first name, so that Steve will not get mad. We are joined by frequent Survivor Talk guests, Survivor wannabe, successful Durham Warrior Survivor Challenge contestant, and blogger extraordinaire, Andy Baker.
Hey guys, that's an intro that I hardly deserve, but as you might imagine, the off season is a very, very long time. So it's really nice to be doing this here in the heart of the summer. I mean, I know all of us, once the players got back from Cambodia, we were itching to do this. So Let's get to it.
That's right. And you write on True Dork Times, TrueDorkTimes.com. Not because we haven't asked you, but in all fairness, you have a relationship with True Dork Times, and that's where you need to stay. So that's where you're staying. We weren't trying to get him away from True Dork. I'm just going to shut up. All right. Secondly.
Wow, I wish you'd have figured that out about 6 years ago. But go ahead, just keep going.
Jeff Pittman, I was not actually trying to steal Andy away.
There he goes. He just can't stop. Go ahead.
Secondly, we are joined by another great friend of the show, the host of the new show Murder Made Me Famous. Not to be confused that he is the murderer, but he is the host. Right. He is the host of the new show Murder Made Me Famous on the very popular Reels channel, REELZ, in the 900s, I think.
Wait, yeah. It's a national. Everybody here who has a national TV show, raise your hand.
Father,
This is just me.
Hey, I'm not done with your intro. Shut up.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Father of a bunch of amazing kids, husband to an amazingly beautiful wife who I have seen in person, and senior writer for People Magazine, Steve Helling.
That's your cue, Steve, to say.
Well, that was fun. I waved. I mean, I'm just ready to start picking these people because time's wasting here. So.
Hey, tune in to channel 965.3 to watch Murder.
and I want to go on record, but just so you know, these surroundings. I'm staying in a hotel because I've had a long day of taping my show. My national TV show, which is something that none of you have.
That is true.
So anyway, I'm in a hotel because my house is way nicer than this.
Can I just say, Steve, if the ratings start to flag, will they tell you to kill somebody?
I will totally do it.
No, you would not.
No, I would frame somebody else for it. So.
Yes.
Well, you're learning everything you need to know by making the show.
Exactly. You know what? There's that whole Survivor producer murder case. I can always do that. It will all tie in. It'll be great.
Yeah. That guy was found guilty, by the way.
That will be episode in season 2.
We are recording live on our website and on YouTube, so all you audio listeners, if you want to watch our facial expression when the other guys make stupid comments, head on over to YouTube and have fun. If you need something else to listen to while you're mowing, grilling, or just not paying attention at work, check out our other podcast, Movie Talk with D&D. We just did the Minion movie and are recording our next episode for the new movie, Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. That's coming up in just a couple of weeks. That's going to be fun. But what are we doing tonight? We are doing the D&D Survivor Challenge Draft. Now, because we are the first season 31 podcast episode out there, some of you desperate people like me who want to hear podcasts about second chances are going to find us, which is wonderful. But you're wondering, what in the world is the D&D Survivor Challenge? We have two versions. One is the Facebook version on our Facebook group, and everyone is against everyone. You get to hand select your team of 10 people, and you send them in to Andy Westover on our Facebook group, and he sets it up, and there's a whole everybody's against everybody on the Facebook group. There's no drafting or anything. It's a lot of fun. Or number two, find a friend and play against them. Y'all two have your own little draft like we're about to do tonight. David and Andy are playing against me and Steve, and we are going to draft our teams. And we are going to compete 2-on-2, right? But you can get your own friend, use our point system, and y'all can have fun. You can find our point system on our website under this post, the D&D Survivor Challenge draft episode. So David has beaten me the last 2 seasons. In fact, last
Just
season,
2?
Have we done it 3 seasons? Then 3 seasons.
Okay.
David beats me. I won the Facebook one last year.
I think you've beaten. Yeah, you've beaten me like every time in the Facebook challenge.
Yeah. So whenever I get to pick my team without him interfering, I win. But anyway. But last year he beat me like 1,100 to 700 something. It was horrible.
I'm getting some water. Talk amongst yourselves.
Okay. So this year we have secured
He's
partners.
already been abandoned. He's making phone calls as we speak.
Once he heard the number of points he lost by, it's like, oh, I'm out of here.
So this time we are teaming up.
He's not coming back. You know that, right?
This time no, he just got a call from Jeff Probst telling him the boot order of. No, I'm just kidding. He did not. And now we will get accused of that. So tonight we are drafting teams. That is what we're doing. While we draft a player, we will talk about the player. It's going to be a lot of fun. David and Andy versus Dwayne and Steve. So very briefly, not fast enough for you to write it down, we're going to go over the point system so you know how we picked our players. We are not picking this draft based on a boot list that we think will happen. It's not the order that we think they're going to make. It's how many points can they get us. All right? So really quickly, if your castaway is on the tribe that wins a pre-merge reward challenge, you get 3 points. Your castaway is on the tribe that wins a tribal immunity challenge, you get 5 points. If your castaway starts an episode, you get 1 point. Your castaway is the first castaway eliminated from the game. You get 15 points because that's all you're getting. 15 plus 1 plus if they had any confessionals or something. Your castaway gives a confessional. This is where David kills me every year. 2 points per confessional.
That will continue this year. Go ahead.
Your castaway is credited for the title of an episode. 5 points. I feel like I'm doing, if your castaway finds a truck in their front lawn when they mow, they might be a redneck. That's what I feel like I'm doing. All right. Your castaway says a form of the word blindside, 1 point each time it is said. Your castaway leaves the game to a medical evacuation, 7 points. Even if we think they actually quit. Your castaway is seen cleaning his or her teeth during the episode. Not chewing on a stick like Mike Holloway did all last season, but actually cleaning their teeth. You get 2 points per episode.
I think that's the Texas way of cleaning your teeth.
No, it is not. And if you won because of that, then God forbid. If your castaway quits the game, you get 7 points. I don't know why you get points for that, but you do. Your castaway spends no money at the auction. No money at the auction. You get 5 points. David, why are you shaking your head?
I think it's negative 7 points.
Nope, it's not.
It was at one point because I lost points for
it was 2 seasons ago, but we decided that it's not. Anyway, 7
Gotcha.
points. Your castaway wins the advantage at the auction. 5 points. Those are new ones, by the way. Your castaway wins an individual reward challenge after the merge. 5 points. Your castaway is on a post-merge team that wins a reward challenge. 3 points. Your castaway goes on or receives the reward after the merge. 2 points. Your castaway wins any individual immunity challenge. 5 points. Also, if your castaway wins the first immunity challenge after the merge, 2-point bonus. Your castaway wins the final individual immunity challenge, 2-point bonus. Your castaway finds a hidden immunity idol. This is where David won last year. Confessionals, and then stupid Carolyn, whom I love very much. Hi, Carolyn, Mama C, had the stupid hidden immunity idol the whole freaking game. She got 5 points for finding it, and 3 points per episode that she had it. So every episode your castaway begins with a hidden immunity idol, they get 3 points.
And
your
she
castaway
played it and saved herself. Thank you, Carolyn. I love Carolyn, but you go right ahead.
Yeah. If your castaway plays their hidden immunity idol at Tribal Council for themselves, they get 7 points. If they play it for someone else, they get 9. Now, if they hand it to someone else, then they gave it to that person. And that person gets credit for playing it, not the person who originally had it. All right? Your castaway plays their hidden immunity idol for themselves or someone else, and it saves that person from elimination, 5-point bonus. Your castaway makes the jury, 3 points. Your castaway makes the final Tribal Council, 8 points. Your castaway wins Survivor, 15 points. Here we go.
I have one question about the rules.
Yes.
So, if your castaway is on a tribe that wins immunity, and so say that we have 6 people on a tribe that win immunity, and those are all 6 of those are our pick. We get we get points for each of those people, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. That is correct.
Sure. Okay. That doesn't change anything. All right, we're good.
Right.
Can I just sum that up? It's like if you're good, there's a lot of points.
Yeah.
If you're not so good and you're not interesting, not a lot of points.
Okay.
So we're doing 2 rounds of drafting here. We're not going to change the order once the order is set. But round 1 is the first 10 players, and we will do typical NFL draft model. First pick gets 1, second, third, fourth, and fifth pick get 2, and then last pick gets 1. And then the next person in turn will do 1 and 1 after that for the final 10. Is that agreeing? Everybody agrees with that?
Yes, I agree with that.
That works.
Sure. All right. Who picks first? David? Whom will have the opportunity to pick first?
I want to ask one question before the machine handles this. What hat is that you are wearing, David?
Thank you for asking, Andy. That's very considerate of you. I'm wearing this hat, and it was a Father's Day gift, and it says, you probably can't read it, it's very light print, it says Castle Black. But I'm wearing it because when this season's over, I think Dwayne's just going to rip off his glasses, pull down his Survivor blanket, go to the wall, and take the black, because he's just not going to play anymore. It's
Really?
going to be that bad of a destruction that he's just going to join the Night's Watch and just be done playing this game. He'll still podcast, but he'll just be done playing this game. That's how I think it's.
But if I join the night, first of all, it's me and Steve, not just me.
Oh, I'm not putting Steve in this because he's going to.
Well, Steve's already wearing the black, so.
Yeah, and we are not joining the Night's Watch because we're both married, and you're not allowed to be a member of the Night's Watch if you're married.
Steve wouldn't make it to the
there.
wall because his wife would track him down before he made Winterfell, and he would be done. So he wouldn't make it to the wall anyway.
Oh, and mine, whatever.
Well, I've already asked her, and she said, "Well, if he's got to go." I was kidding.
Yeah. Right.
All right, so here's how we're going to decide this. I came up with a different way. Here's a piece of paper, and on this piece of paper, I've written one of 2 numbers. So I'm going to make Steve and Dwayne make a guess before we even start this draft. Is this a number 1 or a number 2? If you get it right, you get to decide what you want to do. If you get it wrong, Andy and I decide what we want to do. So, and I'm going to hold it up the whole time so that I can't drop it down and switch papers to our favor.
What if there's 2 pieces? See, there's like 3 pieces of paper there, David. I'm not stupid.
It's a big piece of paper folded. It's an 8.5 by 11. It's folded. I'm not going to take it. I'm going to unfold it right in front of the camera.
Prove it to me. Unfold it right now.
See? There it is right there. So does this have a 1 or a 2 on it? You and Steve decide. You're officially on the pre-draft clock.
Really? Okay, Steve, what do you say?
I say 2. What do you think?
2 is good. 2 is good.
All right.
Is that your final answer?
Yes, it's our
Yes.
final answer.
1 piece of paper.
1. All right, so y'all, David and Andy get to choose whether they are first or second. The advantage of going first is they get first pick. The advantage of going second is you're the first team to get to pick 2. So it's a tough decision.
Gosh, Andy, we haven't talked about this, at all. So
I don't know. I mean, it's really okay. You guys get to pick first.
Okay.
I agree with that. I'll go.
Okay.
It's fine by me. We're still going to win, so whatever.
All right. So if we're picking first, Steve, do we go with our top player?
Let's go with our top player.
All right, but first we have to come up with our team names. Guys, David and Andy, do y'all have a team name?
We do, but we want to wait until a few picks before we reveal it. Is that all right?
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll do it at the turn when we get the 10 players down.
Yeah, we want to do it then.
Okay.
Good, because that gives Steve and I a chance to come up with one.
We didn't come up with a team name. We're coming up with winning players.
Yeah. We were too busy figuring out.
Didn't you come up with your name like months ago? Isn't it supposed to be Helling's Angels?
Helling's Angels.
Oh, that was mine. I came up with that, but I didn't think you'd want to know if you want to go with that.
All right. Our first pick.
Hold on. Let me officially put you on the clock. Now you're on the clock again. Go ahead.
What? We have a clock? Like how long?
Oh, there's no time limit on it. You're just on the clock.
What's the point of it being a clock? I mean,
Gosh, is he already going to be so negative?
Gosh. Steve, are you sure we want to go with our top one and not our third one? I'm just kidding. All right, our number 1 pick. Much has been made of this. Steve, let's say it at the same time and hope we're thinking the same people. 3, 2, 1. Tasha.
Wait. Okay, you're getting a chance at redemption because a few seasons ago, you had a chance to pick someone who would turn out to be a very good friend of ours.
Yes, Kelly
And you
Wentworth.
passed on her for someone else, and now you have a chance to redeem yourself and pick her with the first overall pick in the draft, and you're passing again.
Yeah.
well, let me tell you this. I'll even say this. We considered it, and we love Kelly. Kelly's wonderful. And, we have decided to go with Tasha for many reasons. Would you like to explain why, Dwayne?
Oh, yeah. One of them is we believe she's going to get, like, bukus of confessionals. She has that snarky attitude way of talking. She's going to be a friend to the camera. She's going to go a long way, and she's going to get confessionals, and she's going to win challenges.
Exactly. We think that, and it was close, but we think that she is a good choice, and I think it's a defensible choice, don't you,
Right.
Dwayne?
Yes. In fact, she won 3 of the 6 individual challenges. She won 3 of the 6 in her season.
And she was no slouch when it came to confessionals either. And so no matter how long she lasts, we believe that she's going to get a lot of confessionals, and we're going to see a lot of Tasha this season, and she's a good player. And she talks strategy, so I can see the word blindside come out of her mouth.
Absolutely.
We're in good shape here.
Yeah, she averaged 2.25. She averaged over 2 confessionals an episode last time. Now, that's not on the high scale, but I think this time it's going to be even higher because she's going to be in the game.
Exactly.
So what do you guys think about Tasha? Obviously,
I think being on the clock is going to come down to why you picked. I think we're going to need a clock for that.
No, because we were going to talk about each player as we picked them.
I'm just kidding. Go along.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great choice. Love Tasha. It'll be very interesting, and I think it's one of the things we're all pretty fascinated by when it comes to how this season's going to play out. There's going to be a war over who are the narrators going to be.
Right.
Who are going to be the confessional people? There are so many good possible voices.
Right.
And she could be a very strong female one, but even there are a lot of great voices. And so, it's a good pick. She's a triple threat, no doubt about it.
I don't see her going before the merge. I don't see her being voted out. So.
Oh gosh, no.
Yeah.
I think Tasha's biggest plus is that she didn't overplay her first season. I think she came out very likable, She is somebody that can do well in challenges and somebody that can work with other people. I don't think she gave any negative vibes that she's going to stand out or people are going to be afraid of her. I think she's going to be very likable. She's got a great smile, and I think she's going to do well as well. I definitely think she makes the merge and a bit after that.
Yeah. She's going to take that first tribe she's on and just own it.
Here's hoping.
Yeah.
You better
All right.
be open. You just put your first pick on her.
That's all right. That's all right.
Okay.
It is time for David and Andy to make their first pick.
All right. Well, since
one last thing about Tasha. Hold on. Tasha's 38 years old, from St. Louis, Missouri, and she was 6th place in Cagayan. 6th place in Cagayan. All right.
Go for it.
Because I don't.
What? Y'all don't know who your next pick is?
No, do you have that information for everybody?
Yes, thank you to Jeff Pittman from True Dork Times. I got a lot of my information from him. I also got confessional counts from different places. That was not easy to find.
Okay.
All right, who's y'all's first pick?
I'll make our first.
All right,
pick.
I'm gonna.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, David. You're on it.
I'll make
wait,
our first pick. And
I'm
go ahead.
sorry. I have a question.
Yeah.
Are we going? I mean, has CBS told us what the first tribes are?
No.
To my
So we
knowledge,
can't talk about that. Okay, we cannot talk about what we think the first tribes may or may not be. Okay.
Right. Since there's going to be 2 of them on the show, and I don't know what name you ever came up with, but I told her and asked her permission if it was okay to call her this. So with our first pick for our team, which has not been named yet, is Lady Wentworth. That's the name I'm going with, and that's the first pick of this team, Miss Kelly. That's who picked you first, because I promised on our Facebook group when it said if you got voted on this season, I was picking you first, and I kept my word. I'm because I'm faithful, and we like Kelly.
You know what you did? You purposefully did not get the first pick, because if you had had the first pick, she would not have been your first pick. But because you get 2 picks, you can safely pick her first. Absolutely, that is what happened. Don't even try to lie.
Well, if you 2 had picked 1 instead of 2, you would have known that. You would have known the answer to that question. But you picked 2, and I'm okay with that. So Kelly is our first pick, and I will turn the floor over to my partner for our second pick.
All right. Just for the record, when David and I did our extensive preparation, which means this morning, I knew that I was going to lose the argument that Kelly would be our first pick. It's a perfectly fine pick, I think. She's great. She too is a triple threat. She is virtually guaranteed, I think, to improve her from her last outing. Obviously, she's not surrounded by the Confederacy of Dunces this time.
Right.
But when I was trying to, I'll admit it, I was trying to talk David out of it. I wasn't sold. But there's a lot of there's loyalty to the podcast. She's probably listening now or will be.
Hi, Kelly.
I'm hoping for a great season from her. I'm hoping that certain alliances come into play. So yeah, I like it. How about you guys? What do you think?
We would have, if we had we really considered Kelly for the longest time, and we just decided at the last minute to change.
Right. To be fair, Kelly is a risky choice because we didn't get to see a lot of her gameplay. So she is a risky choice. So you're really betting on on her potential more so than what you saw. I mean, she didn't get to do any individual challenges, so you don't know how she's going to do there. She only got an average of 1 confessional per episode, so she didn't get a lot of confessionals last time, and she was 14th place. So it's really you're kind of betting on what she can do.
That's correct, but at the same time, you got to base those stats on an edit that did not include her. I mean, she wasn't going to make the merge, so right. So those stats you can't really compare are going to happen this season. I'm just hopeful, but to me, she didn't show her whole game. She showed a lot of potential. She showed a great attitude. She's not built like Terry Dietz or Vetus or anybody. She's just a regular person, but I think her upside is good because she didn't go as far. I'm hoping that does play to her advantage.
Yeah, well, and I think that everything can be seen from two sides, particularly when you're talking about a returnee-based season.
Right.
The other players don't have a lot to go on with her, other than they've talked with her. They didn't get many episodes to base it on. I mean, like your pick, Tasha. I think people will see her as who she was through what she came in 6th place. Is that right?
That's right.
Where she got to display who she is over 30 days. Rather than a week and a half, and so people get a better sense that she's loyal, she's strong, she's a triple threat. But that could work against her in that people may want to take her out because she may win those challenges, and they don't think that about Kelly. So again, I mean, obviously, it could go either way, but you're just trying to take educated guesses, and I think Kelly's surrounded by other Survivor fans who like to talk Survivor. I think maybe she'll find herself into an alliance.
Well, Steve and I both think that she's going to go very far, but it is kind of fun to watch Andy defend someone whom he did not want to pick.
Well, she was definitely in the top, top group-ish.
She's in the top 10.
Well, he also got to name our team, so he got that, and he let me have the first choice.
I did.
All right. Well,
all right. So
second choice.
Moving on to pick number 3 overall, our second pick, and it may be unsurprising on some levels, but at the same time, somebody who will probably be a target. But I have to. This is one I lobbied for pretty hard. Got to take Spencer. Got to take him. He's a triple threat. I think the Charlie Brown experience he had on Cagayan, that everything he tried didn't work, may work in his favor in that people like him. He's going to be surrounded by players from the past that he's going to totally geek out on, which is great. They're going to love that. And I just think he's got the personality people are going to trust him. So, and talk about somebody who is probably strategically, just like Tasha, going to be talking a lot of strategy during confessionals and be the go-to person to talk about that stuff. He's a major candidate there. So, I think he's going to be all over the edit.
Yeah. I wish I could say I was happy that you chose him. But if you recall, I did write this.
I ain't going nowhere. Survivor's my game. Spencer is my name. Whoa.
Yeah, he's in for the long haul.
Yeah, let's hope so.
Yeah,
I can't wait to reveal to y'all our mock draft this morning, where we predicted what y'all would pick.
I don't even. You know what? I'm already ticked off. Okay. Steve and I are already texting each other.
Here it is, Dwayne. Up, just go north. Just go north, and you'll be there, buddy.
Why are you ticked off? I expected this.
This is not unpredictable.
This is not unpredictable at all.
This is how Dwayne plays poker too. So just
I assumed that this is how it was going to go.
Okay, I say, Steve, that we do switch 5 and 6.
Yes, I agree.
Okay.
There's no
wait a second. I just want to point out,
about
Dwayne, I think Dwayne has flow charts. If this happens, then okay. I need the fuchsia-colored one. Okay.
All right. So we agree that we like Spencer as your pick. He's 22-year-old from Chicago, Illinois, 4th place in Cagayan. The dude had 63 confessionals, an average of 4.5 per episode. He only won 3 of 9 individual challenges, and he was 5.5 for 13 team challenges. I have a feeling Spencer's going to be fun to watch this season. And yes, he was our number 2 and 3 pick.
Right.
He and Kelly were our second, third pick.
Yeah, he kept you in Cagayan in our challenge because I had Tony and Trish, I think, but he kept you in that game.
Yeah. By the way, Tasha's already tweeting that well, she's watching anyway, and she's happy.
Hi, Tasha.
Of course, she's the number 1 overall pick.
Hey, Tasha. Good
Yeah. Wonderful. Do us proud, Tasha, please.
That's right.
Please, now we're begging. Go back and do us proud.
Go back in time. Undo any mistakes you made.
Because we had 3 that we really wanted, and we got one of them.
Well, I'll tell you this. Now, I was going to suggest putting Tasha as our number one, and then Dwayne and I, we are on the same page, so we knew what was going to happen. So anyway.
Yes. We figured this would happen. All right, so what else do you want to say about Spencer? Anybody else want to say anything about Spencer?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think he's going to play the same game he did last time, or do you think it's going to change?
Well, I mean, he's destined to be on a better tribe at the outset.
Right.
It can't get much worse. And I think that he's going to be useful in challenges. The guy's fit, and he's going to be able to. I mean, he's a classic example of somebody who is going to have those players from early seasons. You know, he's going to talk to them about everything they did in their seasons because he knows that stuff.
Right.
And it's going to bond people when you have that much time to talk about things. He's a nice guy who is going to want to talk about how awesome those people were back in the day, and hey, let's make some new history. And there's definitely going to be people around who are falling apart a little bit or a little more desperate. I think he'll find himself in a majority, which is going to be interesting, seeing him, like, he was in control of the game for a heartbeat in Cagayan, and then it fell apart again.
Right.
And seeing it's a totally different game when you're playing from ahead and playing from behind. Like, do you get complacent? Do you ignore certain warning signs? Who have you aligned with? And if you have a big alliance, when is that going to feed on itself? And he's always going to be a threat after the merge to be gunned down because he did perform pretty well. I'd be curious if we were to look at True Dark Times right now, like what his overall challenge performance was. Not only did he not, I mean, you talked about when he won, but there's also coming in second, coming in third, right, always being close.
Right.
You know, he was a genuine threat throughout the post-merge immunity challenges. So, I mean, do I see him winning? It'll be a hard road for him after the merge, assuming he gets there. But I think his game's going to have to be different because he had his back against the wall the entire time last time.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Is there a possibility? Is there a possibility that his snarky attitude gets him in trouble, though?
Let me go first to that because I think I've got on my scale. I've got Kelly and Spencer having the biggest gameplay change. Those two will and Kelly obviously because she went out so early. But
wait,
Spencer,
are you talking about Wentworth?
Yes.
Okay,
Lady Wentworth, sorry. But I think Spencer will also have a different arc this time, but I don't think he's going to get to that snarky place, at least not on a social scale. He might in his confessionals. He could be the narrator, but I think he's going to have a much greater influence on the strategy. Like Andy said, he can't get into any tribe or any situation he falls into, it's going to be better than the tribe he was on in Cagayan. So I think he is going to have the biggest change. My prediction is that he's going to have the biggest change going into the season. I agree, winning is going to be very hard for him, though, because everybody knows who he is and how smart he is. But I think he'll put himself in good positions and good alliances that he's going to have a great season and go far.
All right. How about you, Steve? You got anything to say about L. Spencer?
I wanted Spencer on my team, but, you know, I think that he's going to be great with confessionals. I think that he's going to be one of the narrators of the season. And I hope he does well. I hoped he would do well. Now I hope he crashes and burns on episode 1. But,
now I hope he's not the. Now I hope he's not the narrator of the season.
Exactly. But no, I mean, Spencer is somebody I'm very excited to watch play again, and I'm very excited to see, frankly, Spencer and Tasha back out there again because they, you know, now granted, Cass is still around, but at least maybe this will be their chance to really take control of the game.
All right. So now we get 2.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I thought this was where we went 1.
No.
No.
For those of you who don't know this, everybody who's watching, I flew today from Florida to Texas, and the whole time I was in the plane, these people were trying to figure out how this whole thing was going to work. So.
Yeah, it was funny because you got off the plane and you had like 80 unread messages to go through.
I didn't even read them all. So
right.
Half of them were just random streams of numbers. 1292125.
And then everybody would laugh at me because every once in a while, even though I like to joke around a lot, I get in this serious mode, and I want to talk serious, and everybody's still joking around. So then everybody laughs at me for wanting to be serious.
So Dwayne finally gets to the point and says, when you are ready to be serious, I'll start reading again.
Yeah.
Right. So I want to talk about our fourth pick.
All right. You get to say who it is.
So, and I'm going to be watching Andy's face when I say this.
Well, he's our second pick, but
yes,
he's fourth on our list. Second pick.
We have decided that we would like to take Keith.
Andy applauds.
Let me erase the name I wrote down for y'all and write Keith the Confessional Magnet down here.
That's right.
In number 4.
We are taking Keith.
Okay. All right, Andy, throw out the mock draft. Let's go to number 7.
Actually, to be fair, I didn't have him too far down my list either. I'm very curious to hear your reasons. I'm sure I know what some of them are. It's a highly defensible pick, but I'm just trying to picture certain other players who are out there who are going to be sending you outraged tweets, emails.
Let me tell you.
You picked Keith over me.
Here's the bottom line, and any of you survivors who are watching this, seriously, I am thrilled that every single one of you made this season, and I think all of you are wonderful. The reason why I thought, and this is why I pushed for Keith. Keith is great with confessionals. Keith is fantastic with them. And here's the thing. Kelly's wonderful. I love Kelly. But Kelly, Monica, some of them, we don't know that their confessionals are going to stand out from one another. Keith is the only person who I would say there's no other person who talks like Keith. There's no other person who's going to narrate like Keith, and I think that the editors are going to use him for that.
Yep.
Remember, he's not terrible. I know that he's one of the oldest people out there. He's not terrible in challenges, and I also don't think that he's going to be somebody that they target early because he didn't show a lot of strategy the time before. I'm interested to see how well he's learned from, he was a Final Four contestant last time, and I think he could do it again.
Yeah, 4th place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
54 years old. He won 4 of the 12 individual challenges. He won 4 of the 10 team challenges. He was on the winning team. He had 47 confessionals, averaged over 3 1/3 confessionals per episode.
And he will clean his teeth.
Dude, he is going. I don't know what y'all are doing, but hey, you just clue me in, and I'm here.
I could have beaten Dwayne with just Keith at San Juan del Sur.
Yes,
I have so many points from Keith. For this challenge. That's why this challenge is important to look at the points.
That's right.
People like Keith.
Right. So we're not saying that he's particularly going to win the game or be a better player than a lot of the other players that are after him. But his confessional count and staying in the game for a while count before he finally gets taken out is going to get us a ton of points. Mm-hmm. So therefore, Keith.
And if he trips on another idol, you could get points for that too.
That's right.
Right. 2 things I wanted to say that came to me while you guys were talking. One, not only is it going to be interesting to see who gets confessionals, but it's also going to be. Is this a season that's dominated by strategy? Is this a season where there's lots of interesting stories to tell? Insofar as, like, some of Keith, it's his character, it's his personality, people love him, he'll say anything and then he'll spit, and, that's telegenic. But he is, will they need him at the way they needed him in San Juan del Sur, where no one was talking strategy, no one knew what they were doing post-merge, and so they needed to fill airtime, and so Keith got a lot of it because he added character. Is this a season full to overflowing so they don't need it? But you're right, he's different, he's going to bring a different edge to it, so they'll still use him, but I mean, that's why I pushed him a little further down my list, because he is confessional gold, but is he going to show up? I mean, I think they're going to have so much that they're going to want to tell they don't need filler. So the question is he going to be instrumental?
See, I don't think Keith was ever filler when it came to confessionals. Yeah, we all laugh about his sub-alliance thing and that he didn't know how to play the game. But he was never filler from a TV standpoint. And, like I said, they want to add some sort of diversity to this. And having Keith from Louisiana, the older guy, I think he's going to get a lot more confessionals than Savage, than Terry, than all these other people. So I think he is a top 4 pick for us.
I would agree that he was not filler, only in the sense that
Yes, David?
And
he froze.
Say that again. You would agree he is not filler, what?
Because his confessionals represented people that didn't really know anything about the game. I don't remember his confessionals bringing a lot to the ongoing play, but at the same time, I kind of agree that he was a interesting character when there was a lack of strong confessionals coming out. But look at this list of people, man. There's confessionals all over this place. I just think it's going to be harder for him to get confessionals.
But they're going to use them though.
Yeah.
And we're sticking to it.
Yeah, well, the one thing that they do like to put into seasons is a certain amount of levity. Like it's they want to add some fun, and you're right. Keith will bring that.
Yep.
Because he's not going to take it super seriously out there. He's not going to be super strategic. He's just going to be in a game that is going to be dominated by a whole bunch of people who just have their heads so far into the game. There's value in that person who has the step back, who's just sort of looking around at all these people who are scrambling everywhere and just being bemused by it all.
Yeah.
But the other thing that I wanted to mention, and Steve, you touched on this, and I'm sure we'll bring it up again as we go on, it's this whole issue of learning. And for me, that's one of the key things about this whole season is this is a learning group. And it is by its very nature, as a second chance season, did you learn? Mm-hmm. Did you adapt, and can you continue to adapt? And I feel like even if Keith has learned and figured some stuff out, he's still going to be surrounded by a lot of people who know more about the game, who have learned more than him. And so,
have you learned is not a point. We don't get points for learning.
Yeah,
we get points for confessionals. We get points for being on winning teams.
Yeah, but when you learn, you have more to say.
No, because Survivor wants him to spit. We're going to get at least one spit per episode.
And, when there's a reward challenge and they get Fruit Loops, who are they going to show talking about the Fruit Loops and how he hasn't had Fruit Loops since he was 9 and everything? Right. We're going to see Keith, and that's all I care about.
What the heck is Fruit Loops?
Exactly.
I don't want to know what Keith thinks of the term Fruit Loop. I really don't.
I've eaten Fruit Loops thinking of those guys over there sleeping close to each other. I ain't never done that.
All right, so that's let's
move on to number 4.
So that's 4 picks in 45 minutes. Let's go.
Okay, let's keep going.
All right.
Go ahead, Dwayne. Say it.
All right, our next pick, 37 years old, 10th place in San Juan del Sur, Jeremy Collins. He won one of the 3 individual immunity challenges he had a chance. Well, look at David. He's so happy. We must not have picked their next 2 players.
That's fine. They're not going to choose our next ones.
He won 7 of the 8 team challenges, 46 confessionals. Dude, he averaged over 5 confessionals an episode. This is Jeremy, and I think he's going to do really well this season. Mm-hmm. So there we go, Jeremy.
He's not on our team, but I hope he has a much better season than he did the first time. Very, very kind of like Tasha, extremely likable person. So excited to be out there. Has a lot of upside to him, and he didn't play long enough. I mean, he did. He made it to the jury, but to me, he still didn't play long enough strategy-wise to really reveal too much.
Yeah. So. Hopefully, Keith will do something to make Jeremy mad, so we'll get a lot of Jeremy confessionals.
There we go.
It's a good pick. I mean, to me, this is a tipping point pick. He is a specific kind of confessional giver, storyteller, and when you say Keith is different, Jeremy's one who's in a group of people who are likely to be similar, and the question is, is he preeminent throughout the game as a primary strategist, or is he not? And there's a handful of people who fall into that category. And if he's at the head, if he's the head of the snake, then this pick is fantastic. If he ends up being a secondary character or being marginalized for whatever reason, you know, and that can be said about someone we're about to pick. So, you know, it's just one of those. Who's going to be turned to for the strategy? It's going to be the people who get deep and the people who are truly instrumental. So I really do hope it goes well for him. I'm a Jeremy fan, unabashed Jeremy fan. So I hope it goes well for him.
And of course, it's not only that, but we don't think he's going to get booted off the game pre-merge. So he's going to go into the game a pretty good ways. So gives us more points there as well.
Exactly.
Well, it's going to be interesting. I mean, I look at the whole list of characters, and there's only a few people, I think, that leap out as, and we'll get to this at the end, but, you know, the people who are likely boots. I mean, overall, it's a strong cast. I think we've all talked about that. And so, but some people have to go pre-merge. And there's going to be some who have to surprise us.
All right.
It's just bottom line.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a question. Did we at all mess with your next two picks?
No.
I didn't.
Good.
think we did.
Not at all.
Go for it.
You want to do the next one, David, or what do you want to do?
I'm still in shock that we're going to get our first four picks.
Yep.
This fantasy. I'll sit back and let you do it. You go right ahead.
Okay. Let's see here. No. You take the guy. I'll take the girl.
All right. With our third overall pick, number 6, our third pick, 6 overall, we're going to take the other guy from People Magazine, Stephen Fishback.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. Look at Steve.
All right, go ahead.
Woo! That's your third pick, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Y'all go ahead. Defend it.
Defend it.
Yeah.
This is where we get into a wee bit of fan fiction, which is inevitable when you start putting stuff like this together.
Uh-huh.
And it'll fully become clear when we get around to offering up the name of our tribe. But we're hedging our bets with the strategists, and believing that one from this family of people that we are picking are going to be really at the heart of what ends up playing out over the course of the season. Of course, I'm now genuinely worried, given Steve's reaction and the fact that he knows Steven, works with Steven.
All I'm going to say is that I love everybody who's on this cast, but my best friend who is on this cast, the person I work with, is Stephen Fishbach, and he was not on our radar as somebody that we were going to choose anytime soon. Go ahead, keep going.
Did y'all catch any of that?
I think it was cryptid on purpose.
Yeah.
No, I think he was saying that Stephen wasn't on your radar at all.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes,
we can.
Now we can.
Because even though he knows him well and cares about him, loves him deeply, as all People Magazine writers do with one another, that you would not pick him in any way, shape, or form.
I didn't say that. I was just saying he was not going to be in this round for us.
I was just reading between the lines there that really what this is you can't stand him.
Oh!
And you think very little of him as a Survivor player.
No!
Stephen, before they went out there, Stephen was the one that I wanted so much to win. And maybe he does. Who knows?
This is what I have to say. Know-it-alls are not smiled upon.
Yeah,
when you're in a group of people and you're the know-it-all, they don't like you. And he is part of the know-it-all team, so that's just, he's not going to last very long. No, I think he's going to be a surprise early boot.
Really? That's interesting. I mean, who knows? My feeling about Steven is one of the things. I don't know if you guys have ever done any sort of fantasy sports, but I have to like my team if I'm going to be rooting for my team the whole way. And I like Steven. I like Steven a lot. I think he's very, very sharp. I think he's got the right sort of tone in his personality that people, even though they know that he's got connections to people and that he could be a threat, I think the fact that he's personable and, it's 39 days. Even if you're only there for, pre-merge is what, 20 days? It's a long time to be out there, and I think Steven gets along with people. So, and he's going to talk strategy, and I think he'll get in with people that we're hoping he'll get in with. So.
Right. Well, let's see how we did last time. Notice I have to go to page 2 to get to him. He won 2 of 10 individual challenges. He was on 4 of the winning teams out of 12 team challenges. He did average over 4.5 confessionals per episode with a total of 61. And yes, he was in second place in token cheats. So there you go. He did very well in his first season. Did very well.
And like I said, personally, I hope he wins the whole show. I love Steve. I can't overemphasize how much I love the guy, but I didn't choose him.
See, I understand your thought about being a know-it-all and everything.
I was kidding.
But no. But I understand what you're saying about that. But I think at the same time, I don't think his public persona is going to hurt as much because I think it's all out there. Everybody knows him. They know how he feels. They know how he thinks.
Right.
And he's got nothing to hide. He finished second to a really good winner. And I think his social game is very positive, and I think he's going to find a way to survive without coming off as the guy that knows a lot about Survivor. So at least
I'm just wondering.
That's my fan fiction. I'm hoping.
Right. See, I'm just wondering. I mean, because he is very well known. He's on a very good podcast, and everybody knows him, and they all want to talk to him about the stuff. But is that going to make him a target? And I have a feeling it's going to make him a target, and they're going to want to get him out because of that. Either that, or he and Keith become best friends. That was a joke.
Well, you say that, but the funny thing is that people like Steven and Spencer and Kelly and the people on our team, they will befriend people like Keith. And I mean, and you guys know this, like the various pawns that are in play here. It's going to be, who can make them feel wanted and who can make them feel relevant and who can convince them that it's best for their long-term chances to stick with them. And tonally, tone is such a big thing, and there are certain players who, like Jeremy can be grumpy. He was also very good at the game, and he aligned with Natalie, which obviously was a very strong thing until he got taken out. And there are other players tonally that when we get to them, we'll talk about it, that will have a much harder time, making those bonds. And so someone's going to befriend Keith, and Keith will, bond with them as long as it's genuine. I don't think he's somebody who's going to put up with, just sort of, lame fakeness. So.
All right, who's y'all's next pick?
All right, so this is where we go a bit out on the limb, and take our perhaps first eyebrow-raising pick. Although clearly they did with Steven. But again, overall strategy here, going with a personal fave and somebody who I think, if they get to the merge, can do some major damage as we go along. Why do you have your fingers crossed? Do you think you know who it is?
I'm hoping you don't pick our next person, that's all. Go ahead.
Okay. We're going with Shireen.
Oh, good. You didn't. In fact, let me go to page 2.
Okay.
Wow.
Can we get a freeze frame of that of him turning the page there? We could see his whole page 1.
That's right.
Right there.
Oh, nice.
Where is Shereen? I don't even see her on our list. Oh, there she is. Okay.
That's so not nice.
I love Shereen. You know that. I love all these people, but
yeah. Again, this is about hypothetical groups that I can see, alliances I can see forming, people who want to hang out. Again, building on what I said about Spencer, talk about somebody who's going to geek out and talk to the Savages and the Terry Dietzes and the Kimmies and the all the old schoolers. Barner. I mean, they're going to hang out. They're going to talk, and they're going to connect. Again, you may, if you look at the names we have in our top 4, start piecing together what it is we're doing. Well, it'll come clear later. But Shereen's our pick, and I'm very happy to have her here at the 4th spot.
Okay.
Let the trash talking commence.
Well, I don't have any trash talk. What I think is going to happen with Shireen, and I know I'm going to be wrong. Okay, Shireen, I love you. But I think Shireen's coming off of an exciting season. She is pumped. She's going to get out there, and she's going to be overwhelming for everybody. And I don't know if she's going to be socially aware of how overwhelming she is to everybody, and it's going to be off-putting, and they're going to kind of distance themselves, and she might find that one person with whom she can connect, but I just kind of have a feeling like she's going to, not at any fault. I mean, it's not like, anyway, that's just what I think is going to happen, or could possibly happen.
I have the complete opposite opinion in that I think one of the smartest people to ever play Survivor is going to learn from the season she just saw, or at least the edit that she saw of herself, and go into it with a slightly different game plan. And I think some of those people that are already out there with her are going to wonder what she actually went through and what she dealt with, and she's going to be someone they talk to. I think of all people, I think she's actually going to learn from her season. I hope she learns from her season.
And they're going to ask her for loans.
See how to deal with it.
Right. But don't underestimate that can carry you through the post-merge game if people think that no one's going to give you the money. So I'm going to just turn around what you said, Dwayne, and it's a great point that she can be too much, or at least that's the version we saw. But I'm going to use that word that you used, overwhelming. Don't underestimate how overwhelming it is to play back-to-back. And particularly after you have just watched your season play out, and then you're immediately getting onto a bus and then onto a plane, that you still haven't had full time to process everything. You've come off of literally a finale where this sort of forced fake apology from Will and all of that, and next thing you know, you're on a bus and you're about to start another game. And so my guess is that she won't be as come into the game as big as you're saying. I think it's better, and it'd be really interesting to look back at the previous full All-Star seasons to get a sense of what's sort of the ideal time to be away from the game before you come back. Mm-hmm. How many seasons is the perfect gap? Because back-to-back is tough. Being it too long ago, that's really tough. There's a magic point in there somewhere, and I think Shireen's on this side of it where it's perhaps too soon. But again, I have faith that may actually keep her from overwhelming people, and put her in a place where she's going to spend her time trying to connect with people. Plus, there are more Max Dawsons on this season than there were last season. People who will want to geek out and talk Survivor. These are all returnees who are going to want to talk about their seasons and their experiences.
What do you think, Steve?
I mean, I think that she's a good choice. I think if she makes it past the merge, I mean, we're not going to be seeing a lot of. I don't think she's going to go on an immunity run or anything like that. So I mean, but she's great with confessionals. If anybody decides to name their tribe America, she'll have a lot to say, and that's
right.
great. And Shireen is somebody actually looking at this list, there's nobody of all 20 people. There's nobody on this list that I say I want that person to go out first or early or anything like that. There's really nobody I don't like on this list. She just didn't make our top, but I think she's a good choice.
Right. See, I'm wondering who is she going to connect with? I mean, who is that person that is going to instantly bond with her? And I'm just not sure that I mean, Wentworth can pretty much bond with anybody, but who else? Who else of the women? Her and Cass would not get along at all, I wouldn't think. Sierra, who knows what her personality is going to be like? I'm just not sure who she's going to geek out with, unless it's Fishback, or else Spencer.
You guys mentioned back-to-back seasons and everything. This isn't back-to-back seasons like what Rupert did or what Russell did, where Russell never even came home and just played another season. She's been home for a long time. This is almost a year after the last time she played. So let's not pretend like this is not one game right after the other.
Right. Yeah, well, and that would be a more, I think, of a physical thing. But I think there is the playing of the game, and then there is the unfolding of the game, and all of the press that comes with the unfolding of the game. Then that's a totally different thing that you have to process. Mm-hmm. And again, from finale to bust. So you're right. It's not the same thing as what those guys did, and someone like Amanda did back to back, physically and emotionally. But I think I wouldn't doubt if it has that it plays in somehow.
Yeah. I guess my fear would be that if she did not connect, sometimes those first boots they just don't fit in with the tribe. And I guess my fear and why she wasn't in our top tier is, what if she is one of those people that doesn't connect and she's a first boot? I hope she's not, but that's kind of what my fear.
So where did she finish? Where did she finish last season?
Oh, okay. She was eighth place. Eighth place in Worlds Apart.
8th place.
She had 0 of 6 individual challenges. She was on 5 winning teams out of 11 challenges. She had 33 confessionals, an average of exactly 3 per episode.
So the person called most annoying last season finished in 8th place. Just says something for me for the potential.
There you go.
So
I didn't call her most annoying.
Yeah. Why, and talk
why would
about,
you call Shireen annoying, David?
Because
I love Shireen. I don't know what's wrong with you.
That's what the edit said. That's what the people said in the show. But somehow she made it to 8th place. I love Shireen. I think the world of her.
You guys, we gotta move on. It's like, I'm just realizing that we haven't gotten we're not even to the top 10 yet.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're having fun though.
One last thought there, though. When I talk about players who learn, she is the classic example of somebody who is going to take every possible lesson and try to apply it.
Mm-hmm. All right. Our next pick, I'll tell you what. I'll take the female. You take the male.
Okay.
All right. Our next pick is 42 years old. She was 12th place in the Australian Outback. Her name is Kimmy Kappenberg. She is our next pick. Mm-hmm. In fact, she was our 5th overall pick.
Yes, she was.
Although we swapped her with Jeremy, so she would have been our 6th overall pick.
Right.
So there you go. Kimmy Kappenberg, would you like to speak to her?
Is she on the line?
I'm sorry. Let me lower the level of my intelligence. Would you like to speak about her, Steve?
Yeah, here's the thing about Kimmy. Everybody remembers her from the Outback and everything. From what I know about Kimmy, she still has a lot to say. She's still always willing to say whatever's on her mind. And she's somebody that, because she comes from a season that's so long ago, back when Survivor used to get 35 million viewers, I think that they're going to make a concerted effort to make sure that she is not a wasted spot on this season. So we're going to hear from her. If she goes out if she goes out fourth, I think we're going to hear from her a lot through those first 4 episodes. And that's just a number I'm throwing out. And I don't think she goes out fourth. I really think she's going to figure out a way to play this game differently. And no, do I think she's going to go and win the game? No, I don't think that. But I think she'll be around long enough to give us some points and also to be very interesting to watch play.
Right. She was. She didn't even have a chance to do individual challenges, so she got 0 of those because they didn't have any for her. And she was on 4 of the winning teams out of 9 challenges. She got 16 confessionals, which averaged just over 3 per episode. And if there are chickens, we're in for a good show.
I will always wave my finger in your face.
Yes.
We remember that 15 years later. So
that's right.
It's an interesting pick, and you're right. I mean, I pulled a group of people where someone is going on the emotional journey this season. That character that we see play out over the course of a number of episodes, where we hear from them a lot and talking about how the game has changed over the years, how different it feels now, how they've changed in their own lives, and how the game is different when you're older than when you're younger. And she's a prime candidate for that. I mean, obviously there's a handful of or not even a handful, but small group of people from those early seasons who will fit that role. And she is a good pick, especially when we'll get to Kelly later. But if you're sort of flipping a coin between the two of them as to who's going to be talking animatedly in confessionals about life changes, that's Kimmy over Kelly every time. So it's a good pick.
All right.
Also, one thing that I can see a lot of confessionals about Kimmy saying, I was 28 last time, I miss my sons, I miss my boys. I could even see her having a story arc where she thinks about quitting, and then she does it, and then something. I think there could be a really rich storyline with her. So I'm comfortable with the pick.
Yeah, she's another person that I imagine playing a different game, and she was in this area for us as well. I just it's been so long that I just think people are going to like her and gravitate to her and include her in their groups. And I like her definitely making the merge and getting to that point and see where she goes from there. But yeah, she was right in the same area for us as well.
Okay. And then our next one, the male that we chose, is Joe. We have chosen Joe for a couple reasons. Oh, shut up, Andy. We've chosen Joe for a couple reasons. Well, he's all smirky.
Yeah. I think it's because we stole him.
Probably.
Yeah.
Okay, there is a part of the point system that's going to be based on immunity and challenge prowess. And I think if you look at every single person on this cast, who is going to be the strongest person on the cast, it's probably Joe. And if he can keep if they keep him around for immunities while there's still tribes, then I think he's going to last at least to the merge, and he'll be a worthwhile pick.
Right, and then once he gets to the individual challenges, he won 3 out of 4 in his season, and he was on 5 of the 10 winning challenges for the teams. He got 26 confessionals, almost 3 per episode. So, yeah, Joe was our next pick. He's our 5th pick. So he is our last pick of round 1. And y'all have one more pick for round 1. Y'all have anything to say about Joe?
The reason why I had that expression on my face wasn't smirking that it was a bad pick. It was I was about to type to David. We have a chat thing open that maybe we should think about taking Joe right here if they don't take him. And as I was starting to type that, you said Joe. So no, he's physical ability. He's going to be around in the early game, and his tribe, whatever it is going to end up having an edge because he's there. I mean, we have some other challenge beasts, the Terrys of the world. Wu is a great athlete, but Joe is he's operating at a different level. And the only reason why we had him down in this range, or I really wanted him to be more charismatic in confessionals last season, and he didn't get that. Maybe he would this time around, but because it was the Mike show. But anyway, it's a good pick because he's probably going to be around for a while, and he's going to win some challenges.
And one other thing I want to add to it is that he was probably one of the favorites, the fan favorites, the casual fan favorites last season. And so, don't think that Probst and company don't know this and decide that somebody who was fan favorite last time is somebody who they're going to try and spotlight this time.
It's a good point. He is. I had really high hopes for him going into it, and he lived up to it. I mean, the camera loves him, and he clearly connected with people. He had a good social game within his tribe. We'll see how it plays out. But you're right that some characters are going to be showcased, like it or not. Certain people that we think should be front and center won't be for various reasons.
Right.
As opposed to a thinner season. I mean, they have so much work to do this season. They have to tell the arc of all of these characters, not only in the season that plays out, the game they play this time, but it's who they were before, who are they now, who has emotional journeys, how have they changed over the years, and every episode has to have its own little story. Certain things are going to land on the cutting room floor. Certain characters we're expecting to be big won't be. Certain things that will be like inexplicable based off of what we've seen that will make complete sense to the players themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the more I saw Joe pregame last season, the more I liked him. I actually had him going to the final just because he was a challenge threat and seemed like a very likable person. However, I had him changing the least this season as far as strategy and style of play. I think he's going to be very liked. He's going to be very he's going to be one they want to keep for challenges, for his abilities to do that. But I think I just don't know if he's going to fit into the core of the group he's with. He could feel that he is, but I just don't suspect he's going to be as locked in. What are you typing? You already changed your next pick. I can see it, but I don't think he's going to feel as locked in as he's not going to be as locked in as he thinks he is. I still like him. I think he's socially a really nice person to have around. I just think when he gets to the point, they're going to let him go as soon as possible.
All right, to finish off round one, David and Andy get one pick. And then we will go over our teams and see what we have so far and do a speed round to get the final picks, but we're still going to give everybody equal airtime, so I'm not trying to rush us off the air. I hope y'all don't try.
After this pick, we can also reveal our team names.
Yes,
we can too.
Yes, we can.
Have y'all finally come up with a name?
Oh,
yes.
We had a name the whole time.
You'll see. You'll get it. So, go ahead.
All right, go ahead, Andy.
All right, no, you got this one.
Okay. One of my favorite players, actually from times past, and he's not the oldest, but he's going to be one of the wisest, is Andrew Savage.
Okay.
Andrew Savage. Okay, page 2.
Mm-hmm.
Steve, this is a good day for us.
Steve, you realize Dwayne's pages are the same as they are the past 5 seasons, and you see where those pages have gotten him. So just saying, I wouldn't have a warm feeling about his pages.
I have a very warm feeling about it.
I'll
just leave it at that. So.
Go ahead. Explain your... Well, I'll tell you what. Let me tell you about him. He was 10th place in Pearl Island. He's 51 years old. He won 0 of 1 individual challenges and 3 of 12 team challenges. However, in his season, he averaged 6 confessionals per episode.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he was speaking for his entire doomed tribe, and then he, got crushed by the outcast twist. And I mean, he also dug his own grave to a certain degree in how he treated Lil. But with Savage, wanted an old school player, thinking that old school is going to team up with some new school. And my sense of him, I don't think, to go with what David was saying, I don't think he's going to change his game that much. I think he's going to be loyal. I think he's going to be hardworking. I think he's going to be a really nice guy, and whoever he ends up teaming up with, he's not going to really dream of backstabbing them. And I think a loyal piece like that goes a long way.
Yeah, I kind of see him having a similar arc to Skupin did in the Philippines, and not because they're the older of the groups, but him having a initial alliance, keeping it as quiet as possible, like Skupin did with Lisa, and then riding that alliance a good way into the game.
And don't underestimate the power of being besties with Probst.
Well,
yeah, but what Savage told me this before the game started, and I kind of agree with this. He told me, when I asked him, I said, "You're friends with Jeff Probst. Is this fair?" This was right before they went out there. And he said, "Jeff Probst loves Survivor way more than he loves me. If anything, he's going to be a lot stricter on me. He's going to be making sure I toe the line because he doesn't want to come across as helping his friend." So, and I actually, that clicks with the Jeff Probst that I know. Jeff Probst would, if his mother were out there playing, Jeff Probst would make sure that there was no air of favoritism and would be stricter on his mother than anybody else. So I don't really think that we'll see. We'll see how that all shakes down.
Yeah, well, and what I'm intimating is less that he'll get any help in the game, but getting a favorable edit, getting confessional time, that's where putting, again, somebody like Savage who has a story to tell about, talk about somebody who got quote-unquote victimized by a twist in the game. He's got a second chance story, which is perhaps better than a lot of them who are out there. And so, giving him a little more confessional time to tell that story, I think it could be an interesting one. And I say that because I like Savage, and would like to see how he plays when the biggest twist that the game has ever seen isn't there. At least we hope not.
Yeah, we definitely hope not. All right, so after round one, David and, by the way, Steve and I are frantically trying to figure out who our next pick is going to be.
You want us to tell you? Because we got a list here that you've been... Okay, no.
Well, we have to look at our current team and figure out what do we
don't want to duplicate the area, the strengths that we already have.
Right. Okay, so David and Andy, would you like to reveal your team name and your current team as it stands now?
Sure. I'll list off the players that we have, and then David, you can unveil the name of our squad. Our first pick was Lady Wentworth.
Wentworth, yes.
Spencer in the 2-hole. We have Stephen batting third. Shireen is batting cleanup here, and Andrew Savage in the 5 spot. And particularly with the top 4 picks here, gives us our team name. David?
I love the team name, and I hope it comes to fruition. As soon as I heard it, I said that is definitely our team name, and if we can get our picks, our top 4 picks, it would be awesome. So we are going with the Nerd Herd.
The Nerd Herd. Wow.
I suppose it's appropriate.
I'm sure all of your team members will be thrilled just as much as your team members were last year with Team Cholera to be a part of the Nerd Herd.
Oh, we got sick all the way to the end, but we did it.
I believe you me. I assure you that they will approve. If they're listening, if they hear that this is what we have dubbed them, they will embrace it wholeheartedly.
All right, Steve and I are still debating our next pick. Our team, our 5 players so far: Tasha, Keith Nail, Kimmy Kappenberg, Jeremy Collins, and Joe, all from our first page. Sweet. And our team name is, are you ready?
Sure.
The Foxy Nail.
You came out with that about 5 minutes ago, didn't you?
Foxynale. The Foxy Nails.
That is, of course, the name of a establishment that is not far off the freeway.
It is not. Oh my gosh. The Foxy Nails.
So if you had gotten your original picks, would you have gone with the Spent Wints? I mean, what were you going to go with if you had gotten your other picks? Well, Tasha was your first pick, so I guess you're going with Foxy.
The Spence Wentz is actually something that you can purchase at the Foxy Nail.
The Foxy Nails.
Oh my goodness.
All right. Now we have the next pick.
Mm-hmm. And I think
I'm going to let Steve make it, and just go ahead and make the decision for us, because we're debating between two.
we're debating between two, and I think my gut tells me to take the lower ranked one rather than the higher ranked one. So
Good.
we are going to take PG.
Yes.
So yeah.
All right.
And maybe we'll get the other one. Yeah, I'm glad I did too. So, and I mean, here's the thing about PG. I think she was no slouch in challenges. She was, she was a good narrator. She's very articulate, and I also think she does have a lot of fans. And so, I don't think she's certainly not gonna be a first target unless she does something really bossy, which she could. But I think generally speaking, she'll probably last a little bit, and I think she could last deep into the merge, but I think she'll make the merge. And for that reason alone, I think she's a good pick, and I think she's a little bit different than the others that we have because, we've got the athletes, we've got Keith, we don't have an intellectual. I mean, much love to those that we've got. And I think that she'll be kind of our intellectual pick for some of the things that she says.
She won 3 out of 9 individual challenges, so like you said, she's not to be underestimated on challenges. Her team won 3 of the 12. She was on 3 of the 12. She had 43 confessionals, averaged right at 3.5 per episode, and she was in 5th place in China, and she's 37 years old. So there you go. What do y'all think about LPG?
David?
She fits right in with our show because, we are rated PG.
I like her. And, I mean, we had her in this same area. We're kind of picking along the same lines. I like her as a social player. I think she's a non-threatening, even though she can do well in challenges, she still comes across as a non-threatening person, but she's another smart player that's going to adapt and have a good season. I won't have her going to the end, but I think she's somebody that could be a hidden factor, a silent factor going into the middle part of the game.
Yeah, I mean, she's an interesting player to me. In going back and doing a China rewatch with my son recently, because he hadn't seen the early seasons, and it's always fascinating to me what I remember versus what is actually in the show. And I remember her somewhat annoying me when I watched it, and going back and watching it now, it was just because she's so tenacious and her back is against the wall, she's down in numbers, she fights really hard, but her confessionals are a little attitudinal. But I think she definitely, as David said, can get to that middle part of the game. It's a question of who she's in with at that point. I think it's a great pick right here at this spot. I don't think she's going to be as much of a challenge factor this time around. But she, again, I love players now anyway. I love players who never assume that they're done, that they're out, that their game is over. They're always looking for a way, and I think that's something that she does. I have hopes for her, as I do for a lot of the old schoolers, that I really want to see them acquit themselves well.
All right, y'all have the next pick.
Well, does Steve have anything you want to add for PG?
No, I think I said my piece, and I'm glad that we got her.
Okay. I was just stalling to make sure we had our next pick
Yeah. We were worried a little bit about gender balance here.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. It is their pick.
Go ahead, Andy.
Gonna go old school again because this sort of fits in with who I think our nerd herd might gravitate to and want to work with. And it's only fitting, since you guys have Kimmy, that we have to have Varner.
That's not where I thought they were going. Is that where?
No.
Wow. This is not where I thought you were going.
All right, go ahead. This is going to be great.
Okay.
Wow. All right, here we go.
I imagine who you think that I was referring to, but again, I think there are some doubts there, but he is a thinking player. You know that he is going to work whatever angles he can. He is another person who's going to have a story arc here, because he's the guy who Kimmy ended up revealing he had a vote against him. He was taken out by a rule that doesn't exist anymore.
Which one was that? Which one was that? Was that the whoever
previous
had
votes? Previous votes against.
Okay.
That wouldn't have even been a factor, possibly, depending on how challenges went, if Skupin hadn't fallen in the fire. A lot of people talk about Varner as being the guy who was in a position to potentially win that season if they go in. If they go in 6-4, and so that sort of having a second chance where those things don't happen to you, I think they're going to want to tell his story. There are things to worry about. He wasn't in shape, and that's going to hurt him. You worry if he's going to play too hard too fast. But hedging our bets here a little bit with the Savage pick, where one of these old schoolers is going to be fully embraced by the nerd herd. So, we'll give it a shot here with Varner.
Along with everything he just said, I like the idea that Varner is not going to stand out as one of these challenge studs, because there is a flock of challenge studs on the male side of this game, and I don't think he's going to stand out in that group. I agree that I think he's going to blend in with the newer players. I think his personality is going to get him in that group, and I think that's going to allow him to have a longer game than last time.
Awesome.
Thank you.
I don't really have a lot to say about Jeff.
When I interviewed Jeff right before he went out, and that is the one thing that I have over the rest of you, is that I spoke to these people right before they got on the plane. So, and Jeff was saying, oh, he's going to stir up all this crap, he's going to lie, he's going to come up with these great lies and everything. And that's fantastic, and that will get him airtime for as long as he lasts. But if he's swinging for the fences by lying and just telling big stories, he might not last that long, and that's why I put him down so low.
Yeah.
So you didn't tell us about this over the last several weeks. Why exactly?
Because this is not a court of law, and we are not required to disclose.
Andy, when I was interviewing these people, I was getting on Facebook and telling you guys in a Facebook message about, oh, guess who I just spoke with? I just spoke with Jeff Varner. This is what he said. You were on that, and you were commenting on that. So if you forgot it in the last 70 days, that is not my fault.
There you go.
I have a 9-month-old baby and a puppy in the house. I don't remember anything from 5 minutes ago.
I have 6 children and a national TV show.
And I think you were also starring in a sequel of a movie at the same time. So we were getting all kinds of comments at the time.
All right, he won 0 of 1 individual challenges, 6 out of 10 team challenges. This is where he would have gotten a lot of points in the Australian Outback. He was 10th place, but he had 33 confessionals in that short time, an average of almost 9 per episode. That is 66 points alone in confessionals. So if he does get confessionals, he will be a help to your team. Very much so. All right. Our next pick.
Yes.
We go back to page 1.
Mm-hmm.
And we pick Kelly Wigglesworth.
Yes, we do.
She was second place in her season. She was the recipient of one heck of a jury pouncing, if I remember correctly, or I'm totally wrong, but I think I'm right. And she won 5 of 11 team challenges, 5 of 13 individual challenges, 81 confessionals for an average of 6 1/4 per episode. Kelly Wigglesworth is our next pick.
Here's the thing. I know without a shadow of a doubt, Kelly Wigglesworth is going to get confessionals on her very first episode because it's been 15 years. And we are going to be reminded of the Sue Hawk speech. We're going to be reminded that she lost to. We're going to be reminded that Kelly Wigglesworth is as important to Survivor history as anybody. She really is. I mean, the only person who shaped the games more than her was Richard Hatch. Kelly Wigglesworth showed that you could be, she was the one who was trying to decide whether alliances were ethical or not. And we were watching the show through her eyes after, the people we all liked were all voted out. And so I think that the season is going to start with a reminder of who she is. And she is, if I had to make a list, and I've watched every episode of Survivor multiple times. If I had to make a list of the most complex characters in the history of the entire show, Kelly Wigglesworth would be my number 1. She is that complex. And so I think we're going to see a lot of her as long as she lasts. No, she's not going to be as dynamic as Kimmy talking about her boobs or whatever Kimmy talks about nowadays, but she's going to have some interesting things to say, and I'm glad that we chose her.
Yep. Was she in this area for y'all, or was she further down?
Oh, she was right in this area.
Okay, so middle. Okay.
Yeah. We were. If it hadn't have been Varner, it would have been her.
Okay.
So it's a good pick for the reasons that Steve is saying. I genuinely worried though after that first episode that she becomes invisible. That they're going to want to tell that story. I'm sure you guys listened to her very brief appearance on Rob as a podcast when he was interviewing everybody for the vote when they were trying to get votes. And she doesn't watch the show. She didn't seem terribly interested. People have made too much of a to-do of that photograph that they took on stage where everyone is celebrating that they got picked, and she's in the upper right-hand corner looking totally like, what are we doing here? Why are people taking our photograph?
What did I sign up for?
Yeah, and so is she going to bring the energy and excitement? Because you have to participate in your own narrative journey for them to want to film it and then want to show it. Right. And so that's where I'm worried. I am fascinated to see her story play out. I didn't watch Borneo when it first aired. I fell in love with Survivor during Australia. But went back to watch it, and she's fascinating, and we could talk all day about the Hatch Kelly, what happens if she wins? Does Survivor go on the same trajectory? It's a fascinating way to look at it. I hope she brings it. It's hard enough to do it, to bring it when you're starving and you're tired and you're surrounded by a bunch of cutthroat players. If you go into it not terribly excited, that makes it that much harder. But really fascinated to see her story.
And full disclosure, I spoke to Kelly twice before the season began. Once when she was campaigning for votes, and then once right before she got on the plane. And she does have a strategy. It's a very elemental strategy. It's not elementary strategy. We're not talking, a lot of strategy here, but she does have a plan, or she did have a plan before she went in, and it was a plan that, as she explained it to me, I thought, okay, she can last a little bit here. She's not going to be the first target.
Got it.
Yeah, I've never watched a season twice unless you count watching episodes twice in a row during the last 6 seasons, but I haven't gone back and watched the entire Borneo season again, but I remember mostly from that season the edit that Rudy got and Richard Hatch. I know Kelly was there, and I know she played a big part of it. But we talk about her not watching Survivor and not keeping up. But there's going to be people out there that are going to want to geek out and talk about it. And you're sitting around for 90% of the game talking about this stuff. And if she doesn't want to talk or can't fit into these conversations, she's not going to be part of the conversation of the alliance.
So you don't think her and Shireen will be best buddies?
You're not. Once again, you're not listening to anything I say. I know you're just mocking me, but anyway.
No, that's exactly what you're saying. They're not going to be best buddies. Shireen and Kelly won't be best buddies.
You said they are going to be best buddies.
No, I said they won't be best buddies.
Oh, so I'm not listening to you. Okay, I got you.
And David, I've gotta encourage you that you do need to watch Borneo from start to finish sometime, and you will be amazed at how they've never done it as well since in the last 30 seasons.
Yeah,
how well they developed her character.
I went back and watched the first episode because I did have to go back and watch that because I only started like the 5th or 6th episode when I got hooked into it. But the first episode's amazing. I loved it. It's on YouTube. You can watch the whole first episode on YouTube, and it's so non-narrated. It's so raw. It's just an awesome show to watch.
Yep.
So I mean, I've seen the whole first season, but I don't know. I just wonder how she's gonna. After hearing, I did not get to see her preseason video. I did read her interview and stuff, but I just wonder how she's gonna fit in with these fans. You know. So that was my question.
All right. So now for y'all's 7th pick. Right? It's y'all's turn. Yes, y'all's 7th pick.
Yep. We're venturing into the realm of.
Yeah, these are our last 4 picks.
Okay. Because we need some gender balance because we are very male heavy right now, if I was given any grief over the column that I wrote about my personal ballot for voting, people gave me grief on 2 players. They gave me grief about not including Shane, which personally I think is highly defensible. I went back and watched the season because my son hadn't seen it, and he's a great character, but he's not a great player. And then went and watched Samoa. And because I frankly barely remembered Monica, and having watched it again, I still kind of barely remember Monica. But she was, and that's partly, maybe exclusively the edit. Because Russell's all over the place, and the only time you really saw her was A, when he approached her, "Do you want to work with me?" and B, when it was her boot episode and she started mixing it up a little bit. And that's what we're going on here, is that she was willing to mix it up a little bit. I think that's why people gave me a fair bit of grief. Like, she's going to play the game. She's going to play the game hard. She knows how to play it. And again, we need some gender balance here. And she gets in with the right people. I think there are bigger targets than her. She's one of the players, when I look at it, the highest possible variance. People talked about her as a winner candidate. People talk about her as being an early boot. Let's average it out, and she's somewhere in the middle, and she's going to be a bit probably attitudinal. I think she's also going to go in with the approach, like, I can be this season's poverty, and I can, if I can give good confessional, I'll be all over the place. And maybe that's her, maybe it's not. I don't know. But we're entering into the realm of I don't know. She's an interesting choice, I think.
I like it. Okay, Monica is one of those that the reason why I didn't choose her is because, again, before the season began, she was the one on everybody's lips of, oh, she's dangerous. She's dangerous. If she makes it, we got to watch out for Monica. So somebody like, I think Monica and Kelly are actually very similar players, but I think that everybody was clued in that Monica's dangerous, so I don't know how well she does.
Are you talking about Kelly Wigglesworth, or are you talking about Wentworth?
Wentworth. I'm saying they're similar in the fact that, they are the young pretty girls of the season, and I think there's only room for one this season. So.
But I think at this point, her resume is not as dangerous as some of the ones that are left, and that's why it was a better pick for us at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, we're into we each have 3 more picks.
Mm-hmm.
It's killing me not to pick somebody, but I'll explain why we have not picked this person. yet.
Yes.
Whenever we get to this person. By the way, every time Steve and I say I picked this or whatever, we do mean us. I didn't just sit back and let Steve do all the work. Nor did he sit back and let me do all the work.
Okay,
Obviously.
Dwayne.
No, obviously he didn't sit back and let me do all the work.
Yeah, because he's seen the past 3 seasons.
He was watching. But anyway, so I said that because I just now said I have somebody and I didn't want you. Our next pick, our 8th pick, is Terry Dietz. And we will tell you a little bit about Terry Dietz. He is from Panama Exile Island, 3rd place. He's 55 years old. He won 8 of 12 individual challenges, which I'll talk about that in a second. 7.5 of 14 team challenges. I'm not sure what the half is for. That you'll have to ask Jeff Pittman about that. And 56 confessionals, average 4 per episode. All right, so he has 4 records here. His 5 consecutive individual immunity challenge win streak is the longest of all time. His 3 individual reward challenge wins, 4 counting the episode 1 reward challenge, are the most of all time. Terry's 8 total individual challenge wins are the most of all time. I think he ties, well anyway. Terry's 5 total immunity wins are tied for 1st place of all time with Colby, Tom, Ozzy, and Mike Holloway. This guy was a challenge beast back in the day. Will he bring it? We'll see. So we picked Terry Dietz. He's our 8th player on Team Foxy Nails.
I will say this. Terry, over the last couple of years, has been involved with the Durham Warriors Survival Challenge. And, you know, the temptation is to say that, okay, the game has passed him by. He was a beast back in the day, but, you know, time has its way with you as you get older. The guy is still jacked and ripped and just an endless endless energy. Like, he bounds everywhere. The guy does not walk anywhere.
Hey, remember Robert Conrad and the battery on his shoulder? That's just what Deitch reminds me of. I see him crushing walnuts in his hands. You know, that's what I think about when I look at Terry Dietz.
Yeah. And he falls into that category of the Andrew Savage for me. That I don't think Terry is going to go in trying to, you know, do anything crazy strategically. I think he's going to try to, you know, be loyal, work hard, kick tail in challenges, get himself to the merge, and see what happens there. Hope that there are bigger threats around that he can point to, and so it's not a bad pick. I always worry about anyone who is depending on physicality when they're one of the oldest players out there.
Part of why we needed Terry also is just for the gender balance. You were heavily male, and what you've chosen, we were heavily female. So, you know, I think that we'll see how well he does. We'll see if this is a good season for him or not. I don't know. But I would say that he'll give some good confessionals for as long as he's there, and I think that he'll be prominent while he's there.
Right. Yeah, if anything, I think he's the one whose resume hurts him the most. Because when he gets that far, it's one of those where I'm penalized for not watching the season twice. But if I remember, he didn't seem like the social person. Or, you know, it was all about the challenges.
He's not a strategist.
Right, that's what he's known for, is just bullying through on on challenges.
Well, see, I don't think that would hurt him unless he made it to the merge, which would be good for us that he made it that far. But early on, his reputation, if anything, would help him as long as he's helping out in the challenges. So
I wouldn't undersell him, strategically speaking. Again, I had that same impression that he was just an immunity beast, and we went back and watched that season because my son had not seen Terry play before, and it was straightforward strategy, but he did have strategy. He kept trying to flip people. He kept trying to work the numbers. You know, he was aware of what he needed to do. He just couldn't get anyone to buy in because everyone knew if he got to the end, he would win. And so, you know, he just kept running into walls. But that didn't stop him from running. He kept trying to work it hard. So, I wouldn't undersell him. I think he'll be in on strategy. I don't think he may be generating it, but he won't be at tribal council saying stick with the plan.
Yeah. I don't know about this sub-alliance thing, but...
Yeah. Something to do with Subway.
All right. Somehow, well, anyway, it doesn't matter. All right, so y'all are next pick.
Yeah, we just had a raging debate going on here in Facebook chat trying to figure out, because we need gender balance, darn it. But there's a player out there that I think we have to take.
No, you don't. You do not have to take this person.
Well, we didn't know who to take, so we had to flip a coin, and I don't have a coin, so I had to flip my Tar Heel coaster. I just flipped it.
Yeah, I told them to flip it because it was one or the other. It was either gender or it was going to be someone loyal that was going to sell themselves as a pawn, be a willing pawn.
We know who that is.
Yeah, and so yeah, we're going. Woo!
Good. Enjoy it.
Going for Woo?
Yes.
Turn page 4. Is that what you get them on?
I am glad you picked Woo.
Okay. Again, I'm torn on this because I've gone on record probably far too many times that he made the biggest single blunder the game has ever seen. And I don't know that, some people say, well, that's the perfect example of somebody who needs a second chance. I think it's so bad that it kind of invalidates. Like, if you can't figure that one out, then I don't know that you deserve another shot. That said, he got to that point because he was loyal, because he was trustworthy, because he was good in early challenges, because he was in with the right people after the merge, and he was a factor in immunity challenges. I don't know what the numbers bear out when it comes to if he won any, but he got to the end.
Right. Second place.
Yeah, and so there's something to be said for that, and that could very well be the same trajectory he goes on here, that his early tribes don't think about taking him out because he's not an unpredictable piece, right. And if he's in with the right people, he gets to the merge, and he'll become a target then. The one downside here, how many confessionals will Wu give? I mean, even if he's there the whole season, he may have 4.
Yeah.
That was the reason why, yeah.
He got 34 in his last season.
Really?
But that's only 2 per episode, and he was there the whole time.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's not a very good average.
See, this is what scares me to death about even picking a boot or a final group, because he could have the same arc and get to the end the same way, and lose.
Right.
So, with 35 confessionals.
Yeah. He won 2 out of 10 individual challenges. And he was in the winning team of 7 out of 13.
Yeah.
So there's Woo. Yeah, he was towards the bottom of our list. He's in our bottom. We kind of have a bottom group, and he's in that bottom group. So, all right, y'all ready for our next player?
Absolutely.
It's time to bring out Chaos Cast. To shake things up and show my sass. No one knows how dangerous I am, but tonight they all will. They all will see.
All right, so who's your pick?
Bob. No. Cass. It's time to pick Cass. I am worried to death. I love Cass. I love Cass. I love talking to her. Yeah. I love her when she's on the show. She's in our Facebook group. I love, love, love Cass. But I am so concerned that she might be a first boot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Steve and I both were like, confessionals, she'll get, if she lasts, she's going to have so many confessionals. Yep. She's going to get titles. She's going to get episode titles. She's going to do wonderfully if she can make it past the first couple episodes. So I'm hoping she's on a winning team, on a winning tribe, and that she's not pointed out right at the beginning, because, I mean, she's already starting off reading her book, How to Get Along with People, So she's she's already doing all that stuff, all the whatever. So I'm concerned about that. But if she makes it past those first couple episodes, then we've got ourselves a huge point getter.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's a big if, because I think that we all know. It was kind of a joke before they went out. Cass is going to be the first one out. She's going to be the one to, who's going to be second after Cass was the talk. Now, here's the thing. Even if she goes early, I think she's not going to go down without a fight. And that fight is going to, that fight is going to result in confessionals. So let's say she goes out in episode 2 and somebody else goes out in episode 4. Cass could still be a better net gain for us just based on her confessionals, and maybe even, I could see the very first episode being titled something like, "Oh man, I'm screwed," and that coming out of Cass's mouth. I mean,
right.
so I think that she is, if anybody's going to name, I think she's the most likely person to name the first episode.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Cass is one, just like you, where it's such a major variance when it comes to her. If she can escape the early target, being, these players are going to be looking for, strategists that they can trust. They are going to be looking for pawns that they can trust in a game that is by its very nature unpredictable. And then you take a whole bunch of people who already know how to do it, making it more unpredictable. And it's an all-returnee season, so you know that production is going to make it unpredictable. Someone who has the nickname Chaos, why have her around? Who showed multiple times on her season that she puts herself first. She made great moves to get herself to the end of the game, very self-interested ones. And in a game that is all about mutual self-interest, I think in that balance of things, when people look at each other as to who they're going to align with, they're going to err on the side of people who were a little more loyal in their seasons, were a little willing to sacrifice a little bit to get a lot later, not always making every decision, when it came to what is best for me right now. And when you turn on your alliances, in an all-returnee season, that's what you're working against, is that reputation that you have, like, what, we're going to get to the merge and you're going to screw us all? Really? That's the worry. And so they're going to be looking ahead. Plus, again, older player, I mean, she's not old, but she's Survivor old. And
in other words, she's your age, Andy.
Exactly. We're pretty much exactly the same age, and I'm ancient in Survivor terms. I mean, I think she's going to be able to talk a great game. She might be able to talk people into keeping her around, and if she does, she becomes really dangerous. And Cass is somebody I've gotten to know a little bit after her season, and I really want it to go well for her. Yeah. I mean, it was a rocky road in that first season. It was a rocky road as the season aired, and she got the edit that she did. We actually clashed a couple of times when it came to what I wrote about the season, but we sort of talked it all out, and I think the world of her. And I hope she gets more than 3 days.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, she's another one that's going to run the risk of her resume, but she's also one of those that could have gone every episode for Kagayan. She was always a candidate to be voted out, and somehow she never was. But once she got further in the game is when she became dangerous, and like you said, everybody knows that now. So it's going to be a matter of who can trust her and what she says to each person. And I don't know, that's a tricky pick, but I wish I would have liked to have picked her too for the same reason Dwayne said.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, it was scary waiting this long to pick her, because I wanted her on my team.
Yeah.
But the scary part was, what if she goes first? But at this point in the picks, definitely glad that you said Wu and not Cass. Was Cass the other person?
Yes.
Was it? guys?
She was in the mix. She was in the mix.
It was between Cass and Wu, and the flipping of the coin fell in our favor.
Go ahead.
No, that's all.
Sorry.
Y'all got next pick, by the way.
Yes, we do. Yeah, no, so we have to get back to the gender balance thing here. And flip a coin because I think it's two players who are going to work together. We'll go with the female player here. And I was actually talking about this player with Steve just a little bit earlier today, just about the nature of her game and why she is showing up here so late. We're going with Sierra.
Okay.
And she, on the one hand, I think her move against her mom is incredibly overrated. It was too late.
And over-edited.
It was. Actually, I take that back. She made many moves too late. That one, she needed to not make that move because they could have taken over the game at Final 7, and she didn't do it. She realized it won tribal too late. But on the flip side, she is savvy enough to make that move because that's the move that gets you on a returnee season. Because it's a hypeable move. She is, she's savvy enough and she is aware enough. She's going to try to play the game hard. She is high on that list of players for me who are playing to be able to play a third time. Like, she is going to come in guns blazing. She is going to come in playing big, trying to do memorable things. With this group of players, I see that backfiring hard. That said, she's on our team, and I'm hoping that, in the early going, when, again, this is my fan fiction that helped shape some of the picks here.
Right.
When we have the nerd herd, those people coming together, on the flip side, on the other side of that, you're going to have an opposing alliance, and I see Vetus and Sierra, pulling together their own alliance, and it's whoever wins that battle. And, when it comes to Vetus and Sierra, I think when I was talking before about mutual self-interest, I think tonally, the Vetus-Sierra, they're going to have a harder time selling themselves to the old schoolers, to the more loyal players, that they won't believe that they, she's the person who voted out her mom.
Right.
And and Vetus, and I say this really liking the guy, and he's a great yoga teacher. I took a class with him when I was out in LA for his finale. He's a great guy. I think he's going to come out and people just aren't going to trust him because they're going to worry about him. Right. What else has he got going on? And Sierra's going to be in on that. So
she won 1 of 8 individual challenges. Her 2 of 7 team challenges. She had 45 confessionals, an average of just over 3 per episode, and she was 5th place in Blood versus Water. Go ahead, Steve.
My problem with Sierra, and the reason why I didn't choose her, and again, this has nothing to do with her as a person. She's lovely and all that crap. But the thing is, what made her interesting was her dynamic with her mom. What made her good on the show was because of that, and her mom's not here this time. So I don't know what type of storyline she's going to end up having. And because of that, I don't see her titling episodes with the things that she says. I don't see that happening. And the other thing, one of the other, or somebody who's played with her in the past, told me she's very, very crafty, but that craftiness could really end up, coming to bite her very soon because she's going to play right out of the gate. And she is my pick for, if Cass doesn't end up going first, it could be Sierra. And so that's why I just couldn't put her at, we weren't really looking to have her on the tribe, on our team. I mean, I hope she does well. I hope I'm wrong, but that's just what I think is going to happen.
Right. All right, are y'all ready for our final pick?
Absolutely.
The final member of the Foxy Nail, the most entertaining tribe of the two. Talk about polar opposites. The Foxy Nail versus the Nerd Herd.
Exactly.
Yes.
Well,
is
we have
Abby
to-
Maria.
Yes, we've chosen Abby over Vetus. So you guys get Vetus. So.
So Abby Maria was 5th place. Crafty little young lady.
Mm-hmm.
She did get a bench named after her. Every time she sat out of a challenge, she got to sit on the Abby bench. But she was crafty with the whole I'm going to act like I have a clue to an idol and stuff like that. So good for her. 5th place. She won 1 out of 9 individual challenges, 34 confessionals, an average of about 2.5 per episode.
Why did she win a challenge? What did she win?
I don't know. It was on
advantage for, wasn't it?
When she got the advantage and the knots she had to untie.
She started at the finish line.
I'm sorry. She was given 1 out of 9 individual challenges.
Well, no, I mean it's still a win. I mean, I always, and this is much love to everybody, but when a challenge is like, you know, all those little balls on a disc, or I'm going to untie knots, I'm like, yeah, that doesn't even count. That's like doing a crossword puzzle. So, you know, I don't see her winning a lot of challenges, but I'll say this. She will, if she gets into a fight with anybody, and if anybody in this season is going to get into a fight, it's going to be Abby with someone. And then we'll get a couple confessionals of her talking about what an idiot that other person is. And that's what we want.
That's exactly what we want. So there you go.
Yeah, no, I think you know, if we were to be at all scientific about all of this and try to figure out where all the points are going to come from, and you know, try to gauge like the players who are going to, you know, give me some points early versus points late. Abby is the perfect example of somebody who I don't think any of us would wager any large sum of money is going to make it to the merge and be an endgame factor. But while she is around, she is just going to be a confessional supernova. They're just going to put her on camera and let her rant. Mm-hmm. And she's going to have opinions about everybody. She is going to, you know, form relationships and then tear them apart. I mean, at least if Philippines is any precedent, you know, the whole RC thing. And it'll be, you know, she'll get her screen time. Other people may have to fight for it. It's just going to come to her. So it's a good pick for that. But yeah, she's not going to win anything, and I don't know that she's long for the game. But while she's around, you know, taking some points.
That's right. All right, y'all have one more pick. Who would you like to pick with your pick?
Well, let me flip the coaster again.
And
we'll go with Vetus for all the reasons Andy said.
Yeah, well, and I'm more than happy to have him on the team. Again, I like the guy. He's a thinking player. The reason why we had him ranked low was I basically see him losing the battle of wills, and the battle of two major alliances. Whether they form out there or they have their origins pregame, that someone's got to lose, and we set up our picks based on who we thought would emerge and then push everyone else down the list. It could very well be that the bottom of our list end up being our biggest point getters because they take control of the game. And because if Vetus is at the heart of an alliance, obviously he's going to have to talk about it. And if they end up seizing control of one of the tribes and getting deep, great. But I think you know, he, like Aris before him in Blood vs. Water, I think they're just seen as dangerous. They're labeled as dangerous, as triple threats. And he's gonna be in trouble from the get-go. Although, again, physically he's very capable, so he's going to be around for a few episodes, certainly. I mean, I don't see him being targeted very early, but you know, if they, well, I take that back. I mean, if they end up identifying that he's the head of an alliance, then these guys are sharp enough to take him out when they have a chance. So,
yeah.
But happy to have him. He's a good guy. He knows what he's doing. I'm sure, you know, planned as hard as anybody, you know, before going out there.
Yeah.
Well, you guys all know that I'm a big fan of the Baskauskas family. Personally, I mean, I know these people. and again, it's always hard not to choose somebody who you personally like.
Yeah.
Right.
But I don't get the vibe that this is Vitas' season. So,
He won one of 2 individual challenges, only one of 7 team challenges. He had 35 confessionals, a little over 3 per episode, and he was 10th place in Blood versus Water. So that's not too bad on confessionals.
Yeah, no, he's articulate and he's got a different kind of viewpoint.
Right.
He's, I don't want to use a cliched term like yogic, but he's got a different perspective on things.
Right.
And so he'll get confessional time simply for that.
Yep. All right, so we have our 2 teams. David and Andy, why don't you all recap what your team name is and your players for your team.
All right, we've got the Nerd Herd, and it starts with Lady Wentworth, followed by Spencer, Stephen, Shireen, Savage, as well as Varner, Monica, Wu, Sierra, and Vitas.
Abby Maria just posted on Twitter, "At least I got a bench named Abby. Enjoyed listening to you guys." Hey, Abby.
Abby, I love you. You're great.
Yeah, we said nice things about you. I think you're going to be a little firecracker out there. I'm excited. All right, our team is called the Foxy Nail, and it consists of Tasha Fox, Keith Nail, Kimmy Kappenberg, Jeremy Collins, Kelly Wigglesworth, Joe Anglin, Cass McQuillan, and Terry Dietz, and last but not least, the infamous Abby Maria.
I always feel bad when I choose somebody last and then they're watching.
I know.
So.
Well, we had 20 great players to choose from. I mean, it's hard to, you just got to go. It's not like we think Abby's going out first or Terry's going out first. It's who's going to give us all the points, and it's really based on the point system. So,
and with the returnee season, like you said, this whole list could flip. One bad shuffle, one bad new tribe, and it could flip on somebody.
Right. So, personally, I think the Foxy Nail team is going to kick the Nerd Herd into the pasture where they belong.
I'm looking at our tribe, our team, our picks, whatever you want to call it.
Our team.
It's good. I'm happy with it. I'm really happy.
I am too. So you can check out our website, stwdd.com, and this particular podcast episode will always be a featured post. All right, so just look for the Challenge Draft podcast, and in that, every single week, we will update everyone's points. And as they get voted off, their pictures go from color to black and white. And so I'll try to get all that updated tonight, so it should be all up there. And if you're playing at home, find a friend, do your own draft, and you can even podcast about it if you want. And play the game with us. Join the Facebook group, stwdd.com/Facebook. And whenever Andy, as we get close, not Andy, but Andy Westover on our Facebook group, gets that particular version of the game going, submit your team to him, and let's see who wins this season. It's going to be really fun. You can follow us on Twitter at @Survivor_talk, at Survivor_talk. How to reach and read our guests' musings. Andy, how can they reach you, and how can they read your stuff?
Well, there's going to be obviously lots of coverage over at True Dork Times. Not sure when my first column will be up. I had started putting together some material preparing for this podcast, but that'll probably hit sometime in August. I'm all in on this season. So I'm going to be. Last season I didn't write every week. This season I will. That'll be every week over at True Dork Times, where Jeff Pittman runs a heck of a website and is very kind as to provide me the freedom to say whatever the heck I want. So
yeah, I got to tell y'all, Jeff Pittman's website is amazing. You can get there from our website. It has Survivor links. There's several good websites there, but if you can't remember True Dork Times. Just go to our website and go to Survivor Links, and you'll be able to find it. Steve, how can they find you?
Well, the good news is that I'm actually adding more to my Survivor coverage this season. Last season, I wrote 42 different stories about Survivor that were on People.com during the season. This season, I'm going to try and do around 60. So, obviously, the best way is to follow me on Twitter because I'm a big self-promoter, Steve Helen. You can, of course, just, you'll see him on People.com. I have to say that the articles that I write about Survivor end up being read by more than read that Dalton Ross character at EW or anybody else. I have the widest Survivor readership of anybody other than people who are official on the show, like Jeff Probst. So, the bottom line is, follow me on Twitter, see me on People.com, and also tune into Murder Made Me Famous on the Reels channel on August 15th.
Yes, channel 1360.
Oh, shut up.
No,
Anyway.
Seriously, though. It's a...
I got my
real channel.
paycheck today. Should I just hold it up? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. Hey,
Oh, jeez. You don't want to see a grown man cry. I'm a middle school.
yeah, we don't have a single sponsor for our show, Steve. Go ahead, show us your paycheck. Well, we do want to thank our D&D patrons. That's how we pay for our show. We don't have national TV shows. I would love to be on the Reels channel, to be honest with you. Huge thank you to our D&D patrons who support us monthly at patreon.com/SurvivorTalk, as well as all of you who start your Amazon shopping using our website links. And also, you can just get there, stwdd.com/Amazon. Don't type Amazon in your Google bar. Type stwdd.com/Amazon, and then do your Amazon shopping. So check out our other podcast, Movie Talk with D&D, on iTunes, Stitcher, and more. Thanks for listening. David, do you have any final words before we say adios at just over 2 hours?
Nope, I'm good.
It was fun. Golly, it's going to be a while till we record again.
Mm-hmm.
Because we normally do a Who the Heck Are These People, and then a closer look. We're not going to have any of those episodes. So we'll probably have to talk with our bloggers and let them talk to us. So, all right, everybody, that's all I've got. Bye, Andy. It was great having you on the show. Thanks for coming on. Any final words?
No, this was. I've been itching to do this for a while, and looking forward to hopefully sharing the airwaves with you guys come the fall.
Yeah, Steve, it was good having you on. Thanks for being on the show.
I am glad to have done it, and I gotta say, I have not been this excited about a season in I don't know when. And like I said at the top of the show, there's not one person on this cast that I'm not interested to see how they do. There's nobody on this cast that I personally dislike. I really think it's going to be. I've heard word, and look, I'm even going to tell you guys this. It's not a spoiler, but the three of you know this. Your viewers don't. That I was in contact all season long with somebody who was out there on the set. They didn't give me any spoilers, but what they told me is that this is a magical season with some fantastic gameplay, some fantastic challenges, and it's really interesting. Go figure, you get these people out there who've been dreaming of playing again, and they get there out on the beach, and they play the game, and that's all we can ask.
Yep. Thanks for coming on, David. It's always a blast doing a show with you. Are you awake?
I'm here.
All right.
I'm the one who flew across the country today.
I know. David, wake up.
Sorry, my phone's going off crazy, so I gotta.
All right. It's been a blast, y'all. Y'all have a great night. Thank you for listening to us, and tell your friends about us. See you later, everybody.